The Nifty has hit a record high. It's 22,800 as of today. The Sensex is up 600 points. This pre-election rally that has propelled the stock market to record market capitalization of $5 trillion is not enough, says Prime Minister Modi. In an interview to Business Daily, he said, I can say with confidence that on the 4th of June, as the BJP hits record numbers, the stock market will also hit new record highs. So is the market bullish on Prime Minister Modi? Talking about this, I have with me here Mr. Amit Kumar Gupta, founder Fintrekk Capital, and my colleague Suyash Maheshwari in the studio at News9 Plus. Welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Mr. Gupta, I want to just read out these facts. Gold is at an all-time high, real estate is at an all-time high, stocks are at an all-time high. All asset classes are booming. Has this happened before, or is this the first time you're seeing this kind of rally?
It has happened before also. In the last part of the 2008 rally,
Right.
we also saw similar patterns. Even briefly in 2020, after the COVID stimulus was there,
Right.
we again saw till 2021 October, November that all the asset classes were rallying
Right.
together.
Right.
It has happened before also.
Yes.
Though the reasons for every time the rally happens
Right.
could differ.
Right. It could differ at some point. But how, Suyash, you've been looking at the markets very closely. How, linked is this with the prospects of the government coming to power? A second term.
It's actually very much linked with how and when what the final tally is going to look like.
Right.
Sandeep, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I think elections overall are one of the most volatile times for the stock markets, because this, after all, brings uncertainty into the system.
Right.
Because elections, after all, is a binary event.
Yes.
Whether the incumbent government will come back to power or
Right.
not. I think in the context of our country, it's not as much a question of whether they will come back to power,
Yes.
or what the final tally is going to
Right.
look like.
The numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah.
So
Right.
back in December, after BJP's thumping victory in the assembly
status,
elections,
yeah.
the market participants and the community alike, they were factoring in a strong 400 plus seat win for the BJP
Right.
government.
Right.
But as we got closer to the elections,
Yes.
that expectation of a 400 plus final tally got
Right.
thinner and thinner.
Right.
Just on April 9th,
Yes.
for instance, since April 9th actually,
Yeah.
just 10 days before polling began in India for the 2024 elections, Nifty has in that, in the month and a half, has risen 1,000 points, fallen 1,000 points, risen 1,000 points again, and again we are back at all-time high levels.
Right.
So what has happened in that time frame?
Yes.
Again, BJP and actually the market participants were
Right.
factoring in a very strong victory for the BJP
Yes.
government of 400 plus. But then as the expectations got the slighter and slighter,
Right.
got compressed,
Right.
the market started recalibrating itself.
Yes.
So since the start of May, after that first few phases of election, because of the lower voter turnout, the market overall was disappointing. They recalibrated that number to about 350 to 340 for the NDA government on the whole. Right. But in the second phase of elections, as more and more northern states started going to polls, and the voter turnout significantly improved, not to mention the assurance given by the Prime Minister, Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Jai Shankar, that the markets are going to rally and they are also expecting a big victory for their government. The markets have once again started on their bull run, and we have made a record high today. Nifty is very close to 23,000 mark, just about 3 points shy, 7 points shy of it actually. Sensex is back above 75,000 day, but overall the markets are going to be very volatile in the next couple of weeks.
Overall, the markets are going to be very volatile. But Mr. Gupta, does India Inc. really care if the numbers are 272 or if it's 400 plus? Just as long as the government comes back to power, isn't that enough? I mean, because the government seems to have done pretty well with 270, 282 and then later to 303. So how much of an impact do these numbers really make for the markets?
Not much. I think these are more for discussion purposes and speculation purposes just before the elections. Once the elections are over, the contours of the new governments are in place in June. The focus will clearly shift to the presentation of a full budget in July. Along with that, how the taxation changes if it happens. the current government has been very vocal about the
Yes.
need for a estate duty or inheritance tax.
Right.
So there has been always a fear factor in all the budgets in the last 6 years.
Right.
They have, also defended long-term capital gains and dividend tax.
Yes.
As a result, in the past decade, since 2014, the effective personal taxation rates have always remained high, and
Right.
the direct tax code is expected to remove even more exemptions in the coming years.
Right.
So I think the markets may feel a little euphoric going into the elections, and if the number comes, in majority, whether it is 272 or whether it is more than 300,
Right.
we might see a euphoric move up, then a corrective move down, as the
Right.
budget may not enthuse the market participants, and earnings sort of fail to justify some of the lofty valuations currently.
Right.
Even in the current earnings season, what we are seeing is that there are more downgrades than upgrades.
Yes.
Almost 60% of the companies in Nifty 500 have been downgraded. So we are not trading very cheap going
Right.
into the elections. I think the pre-election rally has already happened.
Yes.
And the earnings which will come may not justify some of the very expensive valuations we have. So we
Right.
could have a period of consolidation in the next 1.5 months
We
till
could have.
budget is up.
Before I come to Suyash, I'm going to ask you these 5 expectations that you would have from the new government, whichever government comes to power after the 4th of June. 5 expectations.
So see, I think, in general, I have always held the view that, most of the governments, whether it has been the Congress government with the UPA 1 and the UPA 2 between
Right.
2004 and 2014, or whether it has been the NDA government between 2014 and 2024.
Right.
All of them have, the pace and the direction of the economic growth has always been, towards the growth agenda and towards
Yes.
the populist agenda. And I don't think that will change very materially.
Right.
Some of the good things which have been done in the NDA 1 and 2, like the PLI schemes or the defense opportunities which have opened up, I expect them, to sort of go on and not make any changes.
Right.
There could be changes in how some of the schemes getting merged or optimizing
Right.
at the state and the center levels. But I don't see anything, anything major happening where the fiscal will be disturbed. In fact, the dividend which RBI has declared, that has sort of eased out the fiscal deficit path for the next couple of years as well. So as of now, I have not many extraordinary expectations
Right.
from the new government. I just feel that the existing policy will continue, but I will be a little skeptical on the taxation part.
Right.
How that sort of evolves over the next sort of one year.
Right, right. Absolutely. But Suyash, what if there was an upset, a surprise on
I
the
guess,
4th of June? How
yes.
the markets react to that?
Yes, I think Mr. Gupta presents a contrarian sort of view. I
Yeah.
think a more popular narrative that, at least from what I am hearing, talking to experts day in, day
Yeah.
out, is that there will be a big impact in the market if there is outsized win or a loss for the BJP
Right.
government. Let's say in scenario 1, BJP and NDA government is not able to rake in more than 300 seats.
Yes.
The market will see a 5 to 10% fall.
Right.
The upside is not as much. If there
Yeah.
is a 400 plus sort of a victory, which the market had, remember, previously anticipated, we won't see that outside sort of an impact that
Right.
would come if there is a major disappointment.
Yes.
Overall. But just to add to that, there are other multiple factors at play that the market, because of which the markets have rallied, because
Right.
India overall has found itself in a Goldilocks sort of a situation. Overall, our economy is doing superbly well.
Yes.
GDP growth has been rather strong in the first 2 quarters of this calendar year, and also inflation is coming off nicely, whereas in other countries, you look at China, their market has, because of the property crisis going on over there,
Yeah.
has been moving pretty much sideways or in the negative trajectory for the past 2 years. As Mr. Gupta also pointed out, we are currently commanding a premium for example, the price to earnings on Indian markets is currently at about 25. PE
Right.
is 25, whereas
Right.
China is currently valued at 10. So we
Right.
are at 2.5 times, or more than that, expensive than Chinese market. But there is a reason to it.
Right.
Because economy is doing well, inflation is coming, off
Fastest
nicely.
growing major economy in the world.
Definitely,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, right. So that's one big reason for the markets to be really optimistic, bullish on Modi. You just heard it from our experts here on the News 9 Plus show. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Gupta, and my colleague Suyash Maheshwari.